Hello, you are welcome. Thank you for joining. I had difficulties again, but I think I've overcome them. I'm very glad you're part of the program. So please invite personally. Go to your address contact page and personally send invitations to your friends so that they can join us. This is going to be a good time. The next 1 hour will be very exciting. So please invite. Love you all. God bless you, Mr. Gideon. Thank you for making it to the program. Delphine, Ernestino, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Mr. Muket, I'm happy with you. I've heard everything, the newest videos. I've not heard the audios, but I think I was right. I was always, at least on this issue, I've been right. Yes, Jamaica, you are watching for Haiti. Oh, my friend, what's going on over there? Then Omega, thank you too, thank you. Christopher, thank you. Keep on inviting. Let's hit 100. Oh, from Switzerland. Morgan Freeman, thank you. Thank you, Jessica Linda. You're great fighters. Thank you for making this appointment. Yes, Grace, Diodone, Tumenta, you are welcome to the watch program. I'm glad you are there. Just hit the share button on your page so some more people can join us. Freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this name. Amba, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Fellow Ambazonians, my desire was to major on federalism as a system of government, because I see that the enemy has gradually introduced the subject for open debate, and that means that they are doing something, and they have also succeeded to buy some influential voices from within our community to use them as their surrogates to sell that counterfeit to us. So it was my intention to systematically take down all their lies and their hidden agendas under the umbrella of federalism, or call it decentralization. But this man, Balla, keeps on interjecting, and because he was once a leader, because his opinions are not idle opinions, because I don't expect people to just throw away his opinions with the back of the hand. They are consequential. Because he is a leader, his opinions are leading opinions. They must not go without scrutiny. So I decided I will take them systematically, so that we the people we have knowledge. We know what somebody is saying and what he's actually saying, so that we are not carried away by emotions by sympathies that we may have for one reason or the other and put reason aside. I want us to take every step through reason, because we are Southern Cameroonians. We are Ambazonians. So, I welcome you on this platform. We talk ideas, and we mention people to the extent that they are the ones, the vehicles of those ideas. And when we do, we don't attack personalities, we attack the ideas. So that is the purpose. So I encourage you to have a cool head, to listen, to share, to invite, and God bless you. There was a public outrage against Mr. Balla when he came out slinging and fighting in the opponent's camp against the people of Southern Cameroon. When he came out and turned heel against the same things that he stood for, against the positions that the people stood for before he went to prison, the people he vowed to represent and fight for. When he decided to take the opposite position to the majority of the people, there was an outcry, there were condemnations, there was bitterness, and many are still weeping. Many are still weeping in unbelief, in disbelief, in what they are seeing with their eyes. They think they are dreaming, that this is not possible. So people went to all extremes in their language, in their condemnations, in expressing their bitterness and their disappointment. And so then we saw Mr. Balla come up with a letter which he wrote to us. So that letter was also addressed to me. So I have a duty to read it and understand it. And when I do, as a leader of public opinion, I have to also make my analysis known to everyone. And I know many better analysts have analyzed that same letter that he wrote and published on public space on the internet. Many others have read it and have had their own analysis. I will analyze it, the letter, to the extent that it's relevant to my topic today. Because my intention today is to tear down the arguments of the Federalists, the Unionists, and those who, I don't know whether they should be called decentralizationists. I want to expose them sufficiently so that the people of Southern Cameroon, as wise as we are, will not be fooled a second time. Now, let me just take that letter that Balla wrote. And for those of you who have watched the video that is just been posted a few hours ago, and the audio of what he has said again after the so-called apology, you have a right to go look for it after this program, and you listen to it yourself, and you make your own analysis. So nobody is here to attack persons. But when public persons make public statements, they are subject to public scrutiny. That's what it is in a democracy. I want to take you to the letter that he wrote to us so that I can read it, try to be systematic. Though I won't read it all together, but I will take the points that I think we should try to understand. This is not an apology piece. This is not a piece of somebody who was asking for forgiveness. That I want you to know. Because when you are asking for forgiveness, you write a simple letter and you state the reason for why you are asking for forgiveness, and you ask the people's confidence. Again, you ask for the people to give you another chance. So it is simple. apology pieces are not full of arguments. You don't present a lot of arguments when you are making apologies, because those your arguments can neutralize the weight of your apology. And when the offense is grave and the damage is profound, you don't make, that's not an apology. When you want to apologize, you make a special piece which you call an apology, and you make sure that you limit your words to what you have done and why you want to be forgiven, and you make a pledge to the people. That's simple. But when you come up with the detailed write-up and explain all the things, and then you insert a sentence or two that ask for apology, that asks for forgiveness, you yourself, you don't expect people to take it serious, right? That's not how it is done. So, but because of those two lines that were inserted in this long write-up, I discovered that he meant to say more than the apology. So every word he spoke needed to be examined, analyzed for public consumption. So that's what I'll try to do. Of course, his newest audio, undercover audio, and his video in London, they tell more about the real, what he meant in that so-called apology, what he did not mean in that apology. So, but let me stay on this, on what he wrote that you and I can easily verify right now as we talk. So, number one, what I want to tell you is that Mr. Balla says, there's two, let me read it for you. He said, two-state federation is a legal process that gives our people the outcome they seek without the huge costs of blood and treasure, though the final form of state, that is item 3 in his write-up. I don't call it apology again because it's not an apology. It's titled Renewing Our Commitment to Freedom. That's the title. It's not an apology. But he said at point 3 that a two-state federation is a legal process that gives our people the outcome they seek. I don't know which outcome we seek that a federation would give us, two states, without the huge cost of blood and treasure, though the final form of state is determined by the people. Okay. Wow, that is very intellectual. But let me break it down for us. Federalism is a legal process. When it is a form of government determined by a sovereign government. So that means is determined internally by a government. They can change it. They can do whatever it is. And that we can use that as a process to attain our objectives, our goals. So in the mind of Balla, what is our goal? What are we looking for? That a two-state federation shall give us. So I have listened to him several times. These are the lines he uses. He says, he has said publicly, I did not make this one, that self-determination is a dicey thing, that it is good, that he has written much about self-determination, and that it can be either external or internal. That there is external self-determination, which is separation or independence, and there is this internal self-determination, which is federation or some form of decentralization. So when he's talking about what we desire, it means he's saying that we desire self-determination, so we can achieve that through federation. I'm being fair to him. So that's what he said. Now, the mistake Mr. Balla is doing, I respect his learning, but common sense is not gotten in books. You have to reason. There is some little thing that needs to be added to what you read, and that's what I'm talking about. Listen to me. The federation as it was in 1961, it was not a choice made by a sovereign government. It was the very reason why our union was possible. Foncha campaigned that the nation will be divided, will still be two. Our government will still be there. Our institutions will still be there. That we will be separate but one. And that is how it is going to be. That is what he campaigned on. That is what his platform and Ahijo's party agreed on. Ahijo had to make the pledge right to the United Nations that this is what will happen if we come together, if they decide to come to us, with us, to join. So it is the system of federation was not a system of government that a sovereign country decided to make on their own so they can change it. No. It is the very reason, it is what made this union even possible. Without which Foncha had nothing to campaign on. Because everybody was suspect against Nigeria, against Cameroon. But Foncha said, no, I have got stronger assurances that this is how we are going to be. Our institution, everything will be in place. So it is not a process. It is the very foundation of this union. If it's a process, it can be changed. So that's why, number two, our federation was mandated by a United Nations resolution. But what he's calling a process is not mandated by a UN resolution. It is something that a government can decide to say, this is what we want to do. So I want to show you how watered down his demands are for this. So, Mr. Balla is saying that self-determination can be internal or external. Let me go back to 1960, when the French were to give Cameroon independence. They told them that independence can be internal or external. You can decide to be external, that means you separate from France, or you can still be with France and have some independence, that's internal independence. Internal self-determination or external self-determination. Is that familiar? Does that sound familiar? That is what the French told La République in 1960. That you have two choices, either to have total autonomy or have your autonomy inside the French community. And they said, independence or independence in the French community. And people like Ahijo, they sold out. The real nationalists who said, we want total independence. They were killed, they were slaughtered. Then stooges, stupid people like Ahijo said, okay, we accept independence within the French community. That means no independence. That means we agree to belong to the French. That everything we have belong to the French. But meanwhile, we are called an independent country. We are said to be enjoying autonomy or self-determination. Meanwhile, in reality, we are under the French in a perpetual pact of slavery. I just said we agree. So, we are back to 1961, Southern Cameroons. We are back to 1961. It is like we are now asking for our own independence from the colonial master, who is La République. And there are now the Ahijos and the NS1Gs have also come. We are the people who say we want total independence. And the Ahijos, who are like Balla, they have come again saying that, no, let us have independence within the Cameroon community. Okay, Cameroon has independence inside the French community. Then Southern Cameroon will have independence inside the La République community. That is what federalism is all about. Anybody who is talking about federation, whether it is 2-state, 10-state, decentralization, unionists, they are saying that we should ask for independence within the Cameroon community. We should, while Cameroon has their own independence inside the French community. That means we are second-class slaves. That means we are the slaves to the slaves. Anyone who is asking us to be independent and self-determination within Cameroon, which they are called federalism of decentralization, is actually saying Ambazonians remain the slaves of La République who are slaves to France. And it shall be well. That's the promise. That's the real detail of their promise. Please, let us remain the slaves of the French. The slaves of the French. That's the summary of federalism. Please let us remain the slaves of the French. Because he's saying that self-determination should be internal. Why do you want to be independent? Just stay here and be independent. We'll give you some independence within Cameroon, so that you will remain our slaves perpetually while we are the slaves of the French. Where? And the ones amongst us who are enlightened are the ones who are asking the people to do that. The one amongst us we have trusted and believed in, that we know they are knowledgeable, they understand, they have argued publicly and appear to be intelligent and coherent. We trusted them. This is the one who is pushing the agenda that it is good for us to remain the slaves of the French. Now, and you know what? You know his argument throughout his letter of explanation or whatever, whether it's apology. He says that every decision we make, we should consider two things. The cost in blood and in treasure. He repeated that statement several times. The cost to the people in terms of the blood and treasure. How much it will cost us in blood and in treasure. That's the same thing Ahijoists, they said in 1960. That please, let us not go away. Let us consider how much it will cost us in blood and treasure. We will lose a lot of treasure. Let us just stay slaves under the French, sign this fake independence, and it will be okay. That's the same argument Balla is bringing 55 years after. He said, let us consider the cost of blood and the cost of the treasure. How much it will cost us. How many people they will kill. So let us just stay like that. How much we are going to lose in terms of some small infrastructure. Let us just consider and just stay like that. Let us consider the cost. And let me say this, Mr. Balla. And then you say, so it is good for us to consider the cost in terms of blood that will be shed, and then the treasure that we're going to lose. The things that small houses here, opportunities here, jobs here, so that we are going to lose if we separate. So let us just stay inside in order to preserve our people. But let me ask you, as a lawyer, as a human rights lawyer, when a government is massacring these people, who do you preach to? Are you preaching to the people who are being killed for no reason? Or you are preaching to the people who are killing them? Who are you preaching to? You are saying that we should forget about this. Because, you know what? The one who is killing us cannot change. Cannot be held accountable. Cannot be stopped. So the only thing we can do is to stop so that he will stop killing us. That means the one that is killing us cannot be stopped. Because he is such a monster, he is with such impunity, he can kill the whole world. Nobody can stop him. So the only thing we can do is to stop asking for anything. Is to stop asking for separation. Is to stop asking for our rights. Because this man is impossible. These people are impossible. They will finish all of us. You as a human rights lawyer, who are you supposed to preach to? Are you supposed to preach to us who are victims, who are just asking for what is right and we are acting within the law? Or you are supposed to talk about a tyrant who is killing people with impunity? Who do you talk to, human rights lawyer? Who are you asking to tone down? Who are you asking to chill? Who are you asking to do that? We, the victims? What will the mother who is carrying leaves on the tree, what must she do so that she will not be killed? You say she should tone down. What did she do before, in the first place, that she was killed or maimed? That you say she has to tone down. With what? Don't you see how skewed your mind has become? Let me say this. If apartheid made that statement that you made, let us consider the cost of blood and treasure in every decision that we make, apartheid will still be there. If the slavery and even colonialism, even in 1960, if the people who fought their independent wars and they fought for their freedom, if they said like you say, let us consider the cost in terms of blood and treasure in every decision that we are taking. And then he went ahead and said, let us pray for our leaders. I don't know the leaders, but I know he's talking to us because he was preaching to us. He was not preaching to Bia. He said, let us pray for our leaders to have the courage to accept the things they cannot change and to change the things they can, I don't know, I didn't read that trash. But he said, let us pray for them so that they can accept the things they cannot change. Mr. Balla, what is the thing that you think that our leaders have not realized that they cannot change? Slavery? We cannot change the fact that we are slaves of slaves. So grant us the courage to accept to be slaves for the rest of our lives to slaves. That's the summary of your statement. Let me read it. Maybe I only paraphrase it. You see, you said, you said, with faith in God, thank you, and resolve in our cause, I wish to appeal for calm, understanding, and tolerance. I ask you to pray for the nation and its leaders. I don't know the nation, but I think it's our nation. I ask you to pray that God grant our leaders the serenity to accept the things they cannot change, the courage to change the things they can. What do you mean by the serenity to accept the things we cannot change? What can we not change? What can we not change that you said now we just have to accept it? That means we are born slaves. God created us to be slaves. Not just slaves, but slaves of another slave. And God give us the serenity to accept to be the slaves of these other slaves for the rest of our life. Is that a prayer you want us to pray? Oh God, give our leaders in Amazonia the serenity to accept that we all remain slaves of these other slaves for the rest of our lives. In the name of Balla we pray. That's the kind of prayer you want us to pray, right? If at independence the people of Africa thought as you thought, we will still be under colonialism and slavery till today. Give us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. And you are taking that your message all over the place. Everywhere. Today you were in Chatham House in London. You are all over, going from place to place, from place to place. That give us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change. Ah! If our struggle had you as a leader, some people would have committed suicide by now. If this struggle still had a leader like you, some people would have committed suicide by now. But thank God, Jehovah, in his mercies, sent you to prison so that he can prepare for himself a leadership that will carry us to our freedom. And now you came out late. Now you can make those statements. It's late. Because we have already crossed the line. God, in his infinite wisdom, snatched you and kept you in prison. And we did not know. We're crying in ignorance that he should release you. We're really crying in ignorance. Weeping under the snow. Traveling, taking risk. Some of our young people going to march and they were arrested and some were killed. We did not know. We did not know that we were walking against the will of God. The will of God was that you should be in prison so that God will prepare himself a leadership that will take us to the place of freedom. Because you, by now, you would have sold this struggle out in the name of the leader of the Southern Cameroons. In a letter that you said is an apology, some people branded, you did not call it an apology. Some people branded it an apology. And I discovered today that it wasn't an apology. It was just a write-up. And then you said, you called for schools to reopen in that your letter of apology. You said schools should, in item 6, you said school boycott should end, should stop. And that you said leaders should explore new strategies to put the government under pressure to achieve our objectives. So let me ask you a question. Give us, you are a leader, you still parade yourself around as a leader. Tell us what you want us to do. If it is not school boycott, if it is not the ghost town and the civil disobedience, just give us an alternative. Why, if I am drowning, I am holding on a floating cup, and it is able to I think that by holding this cup, I will be able to go to the other side. You come and meet me in the water. Instead of giving me something to hold, you tell me I should throw away the cup, and you will see what you are going to find to give me so that you can keep me above the water. Let me ask you something. If it is you, will you give up that cup? Will you give up that cup? He said, I am holding on this cup. Holding and praying God that by this cup I will be able to swim to the shore. And you have come, you have nothing. You offer nothing. You have no idea, nothing. You have not given me any alternative. You are telling me, just give up that cup. We shall find something else that you are going to hold on and you will float. Will you do it if you are in the water? Let every federalist and every defender of Balla answer me that question. Will you do it? You come and say we should find an alternative. You are a leader. Give us alternatives. Give us alternatives, which we will use to put the government under pressure so that we can give up this other this strategy that we have put in place. You come and tell us, put away the strategy. We shall find another strategy for the struggle. When the struggle would have died? And in point 9, you come again in your letter, very many points. You said debate should be allowed on federalism and unionism and restoration, so that the people shall be able to have a choice. Balla, that's the real apology you made, that we should allow for debate. Okay. We should allow for debate. We should allow for debate. And then, you said, we should, then that's where you introduce tolerance. Tolerance. It became your key word for the rest of your write-up. Tolerance. Let us tolerate. Let us tolerate. Let us tolerate. Let us tolerate. So let me ask you a question again. Why don't you go and preach tolerance to the man in eto'o, to the soldiers who are killing people for just marching on the street? Why don't you go and preach tolerance to the DOs and the governors who are ordering people to be shot in their houses while they are sleeping? They wake up and their bodies are ridden with bullets, and some have to run and die in the forest for just being a Southern Cameroonian. Why don't you go and preach tolerance to them? Why don't you preach tolerance to the one perpetrating the violence? You preaching tolerance to the victim. What would the victim do? What should the victim do? Your message of tolerance is to the wrong people. But you know what? We cannot tolerate you because you are against popular opinion of your people. We cannot tolerate you because we went to the extreme to get you out free. If you are not ready to go to the extreme to get the other ones free, we cannot tolerate you. We cannot tolerate you. What we did to get you out, if you don't want us to do it to get those people out, and you are walking around preaching that we should stop, we cannot tolerate you. Why do you want tolerance? Tolerance from who? We tolerate you? We cannot tolerate you. We may tolerate somebody else. We cannot tolerate you. The same things you are condemning today to be intransigent, to be lack of tolerance, we did to get you out. Now, when we have to do it because more are still in captivity, and since our struggle, we have not got any point, we have not succeeded to make a dent in bringing the colonialists to their knees. So we must not stop. You are coming to tell us what? We cannot change our strategy. If it was good for you, it is good for Mancho. Are you hearing? You say tolerance? If the strategy that we use, in your case, it was not intolerance. It was not intransigence. It was not something that was too much for you when you were there. It cannot be too much for Mancho, for Patrick Dango, for Senator Penn, and the rest. It cannot be too much for them. Okay, why is it suddenly too much for us to do? We should call it off. And instead of giving us one single thing, idea of how to move the struggle forward, you tell us, no, just give up the ghost town, just give up the school boycott. We shall find another strategy to push the government. Can you start thinking about it and give us one strategy? If it will work, we shall call off the strike. If you cannot find one strategy, and you are only bent to make sure that we call off the strike and call off the ghost town, it means you have one mission: to neutralize our struggle. It cannot be interpreted anywhere else. That's what it means. What is self-determination within Cameroon? What is independence within Cameroon? What is federation within La République du Cameroun? It means that we are going to be under the same army who have treated us so well, under the same police who talk to us in a foreign language. In fact, they are trained in French. They are even trained, and they have been told that they should never tell anybody what they tell them in their training. For the few Anglophone, they have been warned, those in the police. Ask anyone who went to the police school. They will tell you they were warned never to tell anything they tell them in the training. So you are saying that we should remain, and self-determination is internal. We can remain. We should remain under the same love-hate relationship. You see how they hate us? And you say we should remain there. Suddenly their heart will just change. They will love Anglophones. They will love the people of Southern Cameroon. You are saying, if Federalists, you are saying that we should remain under this love-hate relationship. They hate us in the job site. They hate us in school. They hate us in the university. They hate us in public service. They hate us in companies where we work. They hate us in the army. They hate us in the police force. They hate us in politics. They hate us in everything. You say, let's just continue this hate-love relationship. It shall be well. Under the same community, the same nation. Under the same colonial deals, the same colonial governors. That self-determination, which we are talking about, does it abolish the deals? Does it abolish the deals and the SDOs? Who are all strangers and have become the lords of our land? In fact, the French word for deal is chef terre. Chef terre means the lord of the land. So they have become the lords of our land. You are saying, let us just continue with them so that they will continue to be the lords of our land. And it shall be well with us. Let us still be under the same powerful presidency where he is the chief of the legislature, the chief of the judiciary, he is the chief of state, he is the chief of the army, he is the god of the land. Let us continue, it shall be well with Southern Cameroons. That is what you are saying when you say, let us continue and we shall find a way of living together under the same kind of president, a God president, a God-like president. That man is only compared to Song Jong-un. Song Jong-un. That's Kim Jong-un. That's the only one who can compare with that kind of presidency. Who is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the constitution, he is the court, he is the parliament, he is the minister, he is the head of state, he is the head of the army, he is everything. He owns all the land, he owns all the resources, he owns everything. Let us continue somehow and remain under him. It shall be well with Southern Cameroons. That's what you are saying, Balla, you and people like you. You are saying that let us continue under the same educational system. Let us... oh God, give us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, so that more francophone and the bilingual schools will inundate our land, and we all become francophonized, at least for the next 55 years. And so that will be called federalism solution. Federalism solution. Under the same educational system, a zero educational system that has been designed to keep us slaves perpetually, second class. No matter how I speak French, I will only be second to somebody. I cannot be the original. That educational system has been set up to make us subservient to the French. Not even to the French, but to the Francophones. That is what it is. When you are telling us, let us federate, let us see how federation can give us some autonomy under these people. You are saying that we should remain in the same, under the same accord de coopération. When Ahidjo signed his agreement, slavery agreement with the French in 1958, we were not there. He gave the whole land of Cameroon and all the resources underground belonged to the French. That the defense is under the French. That the commerce, international commerce, is through France. That they will remain slaves for the rest of their lives. You are saying that let us continue to stay together under the shadow of this same agreement that has made all our petroleum and all our forests belong to the French. You are saying that you will fix it. Let us just belong. How? How will federalism deliver us from this slavery agreement that Ahidjo and these Francophones, they sign on behalf of the Francophones with the French. How will federation, 2-state, 10-state decentralization, and so how will it deliver us from the yoke of that slavery under the French? How? How will it? Because of that agreement with the French, our oil in Bakassi, we don't have a ministry of petroleum in Cameroon. Cameroon is the only country in the world that has petroleum and does not have a ministry of petroleum. They have minister of minerals, mineral resources, and blah, 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 blah nonsense. But they don't have a ministry of petroleum. You know why? Because the minister of petroleum is the minister in France. So we don't need another minister here. We have a director general who has to sell it, and he's answerable to the French. They are extracting the oil in Bakassi. There is no company, there is no presence of any Cameroon government authority there who is monitoring what they are exploiting from the sea. It belongs to the French. They only give a report about what they have sold. They give their report independently to the Cameroon government, what they have sold and what they can give to La République and what is their own. They are not accountable to La République because the agreement was signed in 1958. So, Mr. Federalist apologist, how will federation, 10 states, decentralization, 2 states, how will it solve that problem? How will it take us under that yoke? How? Hello? Give me an idea. How will it take us under that yoke? So that our life shall be better. So that things shall be better for us, at least in the next 55 years. Tell us how it will deliver us from that yoke. How federalism will take us out of that yoke. Federalism. You are worse than traitors. Because tell me how federalism will take us out of that yoke. Tell me, so that I will not call you a traitor. What? How will it take us out of that yoke? This is what you say when you say we should remain under federalism. That we should remain under the same court system. We cannot deliver justice. A court system where you are raped, you cannot go to court and you find justice. A court system where a policeman can enter your house, break your house, take your satellite dish, beat you up, rob you in the mud. You cannot take him to court because he cannot be punished, he cannot be fired. A court system when the army can be ordered to come to your house and meet you while sleeping, they throw bullets on you, shoot you on your feet, blow off your hands, and nobody loses his job, no commission of inquiry, nobody is sued, nobody is punished, no, there is total impunity. That you are saying that let us remain under that system. Oh God, give us the grace to accept the things we cannot change so that we can suffer as the slaves of these slaves for the rest of our lives. Tell me. You are saying we should remain under this court system, which you have said for more than 15 years. That is what you want us to remain. Where you can be tortured is with impunity. Where you can be, they can steal from you, they can break your house, you can see them in broad daylight, break your house, take your things, steal them, extort from you, take it in broad daylight in uniform, and they beat you again if you make any noise, and nobody can be taken to court. You say, let us stay together and let us fix it. Fix what? Fix what? Balla and your co. Fix what? With this kind of people. Where if your name ends with Owona or Atangana, you have everything you need anywhere you go. Under federalism, will it change? Hello? When we now make decentralization, we sign. Will it change? Will that one change too? where only your last name makes you to pass a public service exam. It makes you to pass a public service exam for recruitment. Just your last name. You have already passed. So when we become a federation, decentralization, does it solve that problem? How? Independence within the La République community. Let us remain independent within the La République slave community. That's what federalism means for Southern Cameroonians. Let us remain independent within the slave community of La République. Let us remain, let us have some autonomy, some self-government, whatever they define it, within the slave community of La République. That's federalism. Federalism is a game. All these people, I don't want to call names. I call this one because he has made himself the champion and the chief apologist for federation. And the one who has decided, who has been paid to go from place to place wherever we have made gains in our fight for a restoration to make sure he will neutralize us. That's why I call his name. All the rest, Munzu and the rest, I don't mention them. But they are all the same and the same. But let me tell you, anybody who is talking about federation, go and find out, one, he is an intellectual. Go and find out, one, he is, number two, he is somebody who has a lot of vested interests in La République. Intellectuals take this position because they stand to gain. If they can promote this idea and that idea succeed, they shall be rewarded with appointments. The system, the French will start depending and leaning on them to deliver Southern Cameroons to them. And therefore, that's a job already. They will be paid. So they are doing, what they are doing is called political calculation. You see, they are just doing positioning. They are just positioning themselves. Either they have already been corrupted or they are positioning themselves for the corrupt money to come to them, or they have considered that they will lose a lot. Married, they are married the other way, they have houses the other side. That means anyone talking about federalism under these circumstances is only thinking about himself, period. I tell you the truth. He's thinking exactly about himself because he cannot give you one reason what we are going to lose if we separate. What we are going to suffer if we separate. What else are we going to suffer if we separate from La République? Tell me, Mr. Federalist. The only thing is to use the very tactics of La République when they send their soldiers to come and beat us up, kill us, maim us, forcing 50,000 or more refugees now in Nigeria, raining terror in our territory. They are expecting that because of the violence, we shall give up and rather continue to be slaves than to lose more people. That is what the Federalist is preaching. They are just preaching the gospel of La République, which says they are killing you. I cannot guarantee that they will stop killing you. They will keep on killing us. And so let us give up. Let us sign a lifetime slavery agreement with these people and let us stay. Instead of using your popularity that we gave you by marching all over the place and bringing you to the forefront, instead of using your international appeal to talk to the international community against a government that is killing the people for nothing. There was a referendum in Catalonia where millions more of people came out, and where they have done more even than we did on the 22nd of September. How many people were killed? How many people were killed? How many corpses disappeared? How many disappeared? How many mass graves were discovered? And all you want to say is that you are preaching to the victims for tolerance. Tolerate what? Tolerate who? That is the same thing that the French ambassador is saying, the Cameroon Chiroma is saying, that they want tolerance. What have we not tolerated? We tolerated for 56 years, that's why we are still in slavery. They will not tolerate us, that's why they're killing us. So who has not tolerated? Hello? Who has not tolerated? We who have tolerated and tolerated and tolerated for 56 years and have remained slaves. Or they, how have they tolerated us? How has La République tolerated us? When we march for GCE, we are killed. When we march for a change of educational system, we are killed. When we say the legal system is not correct, we are killed. When we say we want self-determination, we are killed. When we march outside with leaves, we are killed. When we sleep back in our houses, we are killed. So how have they tolerated us? Well, that you, Balla, you are coming to preach to us tolerance. Tolerate who? Tolerate sell-out like you, who will continue to preach us to remain in slavery if we don't allow you to say it. So we need lessons on tolerance. We need lessons on tolerance because we did not allow you to say what you are saying. Because they are the words of a traitor. Because they are the words of somebody we don't expect it from. There are many people talking about tolerance, talking about federation. We have not taken it so hard with them. But you, we have said you are not the one. Balla, look for somebody else to talk about federation. You are not the one to talk about it. Because the same people you are accusing as extremists now, because they are not considering the cost in blood and the treasure. So they are extremists. They use their extremist foolishness and made you popular. They use their extremism and foolishness to put the government under pressure to release you. You became untouchable. They discovered that they could not kill you and have peace in southern Cameroon. So he was forced to release you, even against his will. That is why he left some in prison and released you. We don't expect lessons of tolerance from you. We don't expect lessons of federalism from you. Or lessons of self-determination within the Cameroon slave community. We don't need it from you. No. Give your books, give your lessons to some surrogates to say it on your behalf, not you. Morally, you should not be the one. At all. I want to remind everyone who is thinking that maybe this Balla is making sense to understand that you cannot be prescribing the same medicine for the same sickness which is not getting healed. And you go to the hospital, the doctor says, go back to the same medication. You finish drinking it, you come. They say, go back to the same medication. You drink it, you come. You say to the doctor, oh, doctor, of course, oh, you are here. Go back to the same medication. Let me ask you something. Will you go back to the same medication? Or you will tell the doctor you have nothing to offer. You will bang his door and go elsewhere. Tell me what you will do. We tried federalism. Even without an agreement, we went into federalism. Because the federalism that United Nations mandated required two things. It required a treaty of union, which would be the basis that brought the two nations the basis of bringing these two nations into one was to be defined by a treaty of union. That is what the United Nations said. Let me tell you, in an ordinary federation, there is never a talk of a treaty of union. When Nigeria decided on federalism, there is no treaty of union between the states. But you talk of a treaty of union when different countries come together to form one country. That's why the United Nations required a treaty of union, then a constitution. There is no treaty of union. Why are you telling us of a federal process? You are not solving the problem from the root. Why are you talking about a federal process as a means of achieving our goals? Why are you talking about a federal process where there is no treaty of union? And where there is no marriage between two parties, at least love can keep them together. Some people are together. They are not yet officially, legally married with marriage certificate, but they are living for so long because love has made it possible. But where there's no treaty, there's no certificate, no marriage, legal marriage between two people. And then there is hatred, there is murder, there is killing, there is maiming, there is raping, there is all that. What can you tell that the partners of that marriage, what will you tell them to live together? What will you tell a woman under that condition as reason to live together? Where there was no treaty of union, and then at the same time there is no love relationship. What will you tell that woman as a reason to stay in that marriage? Federalists. Federalists, tell me what we have gained that you say, even though there was no treaty of union, but our country has evolved this far. Look at what we have gained. Look at what we have gained. So for our good, let us stay together. Show me one of them. Mr. Federalist, Balla politician, show me one of the reasons. Give me one of them. We came for that we should live together. That we should live together. Let us even make an agreement. They say no agreement. They refused the Treaty of Union. So it became a de facto union, not a legal union. Lawyers understand what I'm saying. It's a de facto union. It's a come we stay in Jomba married. So Jomba married would have been, we came with Jomba married, we had PWD. We came for Jomba married, we had PowerCam. We came for Jomba married, we had Cameroon Bank. We came with Jomba married, we had marketing board. We came from Jomba married, we had Kilo Brothers. We had Nanga Company. We came from Jomba married, we had Midino. We had all these things from Jomba married. I will say, well, even if we have not signed agreement, let us see how we can work together. So we started to tolerate. As we continue to tolerate, Cameroon Bank, finish. We say, no, let us tolerate. We continue to tolerate. PowerCam. We say, no, it's good to tolerate. We tolerated PWD, which was in charge of our works, building our roads. Carry everything to your own, they finish. They say, no, it's good to tolerate. Let us continue to tolerate. They continue, then they finished Midino. They finished marketing board. They finished everything. And then they found out that we also had oil. They have finished the oil for 40 years. They have been exploiting the oil. We have nothing to show as an oil-producing people can show. We cannot even walk in their sonara because we don't speak French. Then we tolerate. Okay, tell me. And then they hate us. In addition to that, they hate us. I am not forcing this thing. They hate you. If you have not lived the Ambazonia experience in Cameroon, the Southern Cameroonian experience. You tell me if you grew outside 100%. They don't love me. They make a mockery of me because I speak English. They call me Anglophone. They call me, call you all kinds of names. I don't know the name they call you. They call me Biafra. It's not one time they call me Biafra. They consider me less intelligent because I express myself in English. And some of them cannot write one and pass one of the exams, some of the exams I've written in my life. But I am considered to be a nobody because I speak English. Then they said, no, let us tolerate and let us live together. This is 56 years after. So let me ask you. Give me, Federalist, give me one reason why it is better for me to federate so that life will be better for me. Federalist, can you just type there? Type very fast. Give me one reason why by federating, life will be better for Southern Cameroonians. Under this same government, under this same system, under this same army, under this same coopération de française, under this same deals, under this same French, under this same... Give me one reason why by federating, life will be better. Our objectives shall be achieved as Balla is preaching. Give me. I will agree with you. Wow. My Bible says, a gift blinded the eyes. Yeah, somebody have eyes like this cannot see because he received a gift. He cannot even make sense because of the gift that corrupted the mind. So you can open your mouth and send out oral diarrhea. And you say, when we want to talk, you say, no, we should tolerate and allow you to talk. You think that those people, you have not lost people in your family. Your sisters are making noise, Balla, all over the place. They are all alive. Have you lost anyone in your family? And they are also excited with the news that you can become a prime minister or somebody somehow. They like it. You have not lost anybody, so you can talk anyhow. But if your brother was in the forest of a Umojok and they are hunting him like an animal, then you will tell me whether to tolerate or not to tolerate. Anybody who says, let us stay together. That's when I will wait for lessons of tolerance from you. If your sister was somewhere among the refugees, some of whom are being raped, because I know about refugees. I have worked in refugee assistance program. So I know about refugees. Their story is not a good one. Nobody wants to be a refugee. Especially those that have to work for and then they have closed the borders. They have to use alternative routes. Some of them may even die in the forest because of hunger. And some of them, they will be discovered by the army and the police that have closed the borders, and they will be forced to go back. Nobody wants to be a refugee. If one of yours was a refugee, Balla, I will discuss with you. I will talk about the lessons about tolerance. I will talk about tolerance, how you should allow somebody to go and talk nonsense in the House of Commons. Somebody who has been offered the opportunity to present the matter that he knows how to present and will not present it, and treat the others as if we are nobodies. Who were you 12 months ago? Who are those who knew Balla as a great man 13 months ago? Today they can invite you over there and you go and spew nonsense. Something positioning yourself to be utilized by the French and to be paid by La République. When we want to talk, you say no tolerance. The only reason why Balla wrote that thing, so-called, and extracted a few lines asking for forgiveness, was that he wanted to change the atmosphere so that he can continue to do what he is doing under the radar until he has dealt with us. But we are smart. We are not fools. Even with God, if you ask for forgiveness, he will forgive you. But this is what the Bible says, which John the Baptist preached in Matthew chapter 3 verse 8. He said, bring ye therefore fruits worthy of repentance. Don't be telling yourself, oh no, I have changed. I have changed, my life has changed. I'm not going to be. No. God said, bring fruit. Show us your action that shows that you have changed and you have asked for forgiveness and we are forgiving you. Then we shall embrace you. You cannot be doing the same thing that you ask forgiveness for. And you are saying, we have to forgive you. If we don't forgive you, it means we are not men of God. We are not women of God. We are not children of God enough because we have not forgiven you. No. God himself will not forgive you if you are doing the same thing that you are asking him for forgiveness. If you want God to forgive you, you should be ready to forsake the thing that you are doing which is wrong. I didn't come here to preach in church, but I just gave you that because it is simple. That's how it is. Even with your own children in the house. Who took this meat in this pot? Mommy, I'm the one. I'm sorry. Say, I forgive you. Who took this meat from this pot? Mommy, I am the one. You, again. No, mommy, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Next day, who took this meat again in the pot? Mommy, I'm the one. What will you do? I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive. Is that what forgiveness is? That is stupidity. But if that is what you meant as forgiveness, we cannot forgive you because you don't deserve forgiveness. Because the action that proceed your so-called act of repentance or write-up, whatever statement you made, one line, your action contradict completely what you were repenting for. So, just get ready. The people are angry. And you have decided to provoke them. Because of self-interest. And because of a secret pact you may have signed. The people are angry. Nobody can determine what they will do. Nobody can determine what they will say and how they will say. You go on social media saying they should not talk like that to me. They should be nice. Should be nice what? How can you be nice to people who are in their graves? Tell me how you can be nice to people who are now in the grave, who have died in this struggle, standing on the same thing that you stood for, fighting for you, carrying your name all over the place. They found your image in their Facebook and they were arrested. They were protesting for you and they were arrested. How do you want us to be nice to the person who is in the grave? It's shame. Shame to you, Balla, and all their cohorts and all the people who are working around. Shame to you. Shame to you. Shame. Shame. Even the souls that are departed, I can hear them cry in their graves. Shame to Balla. Shame. So we should tolerate you. We should tolerate argument. We should be arguing. Is this time to argue? Cardinal Toomey was never part of the Ambazonia movement. When this struggle started, he was interviewed around January. Is it January or March or February? And he said, the majority of Southern Cameroonians want to stay together. I don't know who saw that interview online. If you saw it, just give me some love, some red hearts on the screen. If you saw that interview, when he was interviewed around February, March, he said Southern Cameroonians, in their majority, are standing for the united Cameroon. But today, the same respected clergyman has come to understand that more than 80% of Southern Cameroonians are secessionists. If that is the word, if that's the term that they call us, we are secessionists. If a people who decided by political action under the supervision of the United Nations to try to join together with another nation, if the decision to withdraw from that union is called secession, according to Cardinal Tommy, we are all 80% plus are secessionists. I will give my own figure. 99.9%, except Balla and his clique, are for secession. If he can say that today, now, he started with you in the same position, and he was not even part of this movement. He started with Balla in the same position. So what has happened? Are you federalists? Are you going backward or you are going forward? Are you with the people or you are against the people? You are against the people. Every federalist, listen to me. You are against the people. And how do you want to succeed against the people? How do you want to succeed against the people? 80–90% of the people say they want a position. You have taken a contrary position. And when we want to cry out loud, you say tolerance, tolerance. Let us tolerate. Let us tolerate. Let us allow for people to talk and this one talk. We can allow people to talk and other people to talk, but not from Balla. Hello? We can allow any other person to discuss and to talk, not from Balla, because the same separatists that he calls us today, or the same restorationists or is extremists, we use our extremist methodology and we got him to where he is today. He should shut up. Because he owes us something. The other ones owe us nothing. He owes us the lives and the blood that have been shed, struggling, to carrying his placard everywhere, from all the major cities of the world. Everywhere. We're changing all our Facebook pictures. Campaigning and paying transport, going to meet people, banging on doors and so on. He owes us. He should stay quiet. If not, he is working against the people who are angry. And when the people who are angry, they write what they write, they say what they write, you tell them that they have to be moderate and they have to be tolerant. They have to be tolerant. We are tolerant, but we are not tolerant with traitors. We are not tolerant with traitors. That's the one characteristic with Southern Cameroonians. We are not tolerant with traitors. But we are very tolerant. If we are not tolerant, we will not still be under La République for 56 years. So, federalists are scammers. You are a scammer if you tell us that by changing our name to Republic of Cameroon to United Decentralized Republic of Cameroon, our problem will be solved. You are a scammer. You are saying that either you don't know our problem or you don't care about our problem. That's why I call you a scam. It's either you are saying you don't know our problem or you don't care about it. It is over. The slavery is over. Let every federalist hear that. All for one, one for all. The slavery is over. Let every Judas hear that. Let every Iscariot hear that. Let every sellout. Let every operative from the mafia, let every hired hand, and let every hired spokesman hear that it is over. We have a government, and it's just a matter of time. Because this vehicle does not have a reverse gear. Those of you who say we should rather stop, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. We have a government that speaks for us. So Balla should stop going from place to place in diplomatic circles to talk to people on behalf of the Southern Cameroonians. You should stop it. You should stop it. In as much as you are not going there to represent 80-90% of Cameroonians, why are you going there? If you are not going there to intoxicate, why are you going there? Why can't you be honest to tell the people that I don't think my views represent 80-90% of the present views now? I don't think I'm in control. Just like you confess in your letter that you don't think you are in charge of the strike anymore. Yes, you are not in charge. The governing council is in charge. Why don't you be honest when they invite you to come and talk as if you represent the Southern Cameroons and tell them they since you are no more part of them, tell them they have a government now. If you want to know the views that represent the majority of the people, call the governing council. Why are you not honest enough to tell them that? You parade yourself, on your high horse, you go there and you deceive them that I represent them. I'm talking on behalf of the people. How majority of the people stand for federalism. Are you serious? So even Cardinal Tumi can sing better than Balla. Are you serious? I'm not saying that Cardinal Tumi is dumb, but I'm saying that he is not a political actor in our struggle right now. He's just an observer. So he, as an observer, can see better than you. A luta continua. You know what? One thing I know is that people endely joy Sfoncha before he died. Wherever they are in their graves today, they desire one thing, that this mistake be corrected. They don't desire for us to remain in slavery again. Not having gone this far and being where we are right now, then you, a mouthpiece and spokesman that we all have invested in and fought for, should be the one who is telling us to tolerate and go back into some kind of slavery under these people, my brother. I don't know. If I continue to talk this now, I will just talk to you tomorrow. Just imagine, how is this possible that is coming from you? And you preach to us forgiveness and tolerance just to go underground and continue to do what you are doing. The people cannot be fooled. We have been so fooled by La République and their so-called elite and some con men who came in the name of change, like SDF. We have been fooled in a way that we have become immune to deception. We have been immunized. We have been so fooled now that you cannot fool us again. You cannot fool a real Southern Cameroonian again as far as his destiny and his future is concerned. You cannot fool him. Even if he's quiet and you speak for 2 hours, you cannot fool him. Even the children that are on the street, those who are not going to school, who are making the sacrifice, you cannot fool them again, Balla. You can't fool them. You and your cohort, you can't fool them. We have become immunized, having been fooled for so long. Nobody can fool us again. You better join the people than to think you can stand against the people and fool them. La République is thinking that they can fool the people. That's why they hire people like you to see how they can talk to us. That's why they make appeasement, send appeasement delegations to do what? What are they actually going to do there? They have some monies with them to go and share and distribute. They call people and they drink. What do they really do in those appeasement? Is to fool the people. They have done it before, they succeeded. But now, Southern Cameroonian Ambazonians are so immune to deception that all that they have tried to fool us, nobody, the thing is just like water on a dog fire back. You know, go nowhere. Nobody can fool us again. Balla, you are on a failed mission. You cannot fool us. Not even you can fool us. Where Musonga failed, you cannot succeed. Where Tanganji failed, you cannot succeed. Where all the surrogates have failed, you cannot succeed. You cannot fool us. You dress up like a Southern Cameroonian. When it is convenient, you call the name Southern Cameroonian, Southern Cameroons. When you enter inside the place where you need, people want to listen to you to decide on our destiny, you say, those Southern Cameroonians. You say, those people who call themselves Ambazonians. We are not there yet. May the Lord make us to live long and see the end of this struggle. God bless you. Bye-bye.